Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent, loving spirit soul that you are. Take a nice deep breath. Bring the oxygen into your heart and out of the mind. The whole body operates on oxygen. It's beautiful here at Castle Crags. Awesome. Now, my topic. Love, excuse me, love has no opposite. When people tell you that hate is the opposite of love, or fear is the opposite of love, they're trying to say that there's no love without hate. So that the only way you know love is that you're not hating someone. And you know this whole thing about like and dislike? So you got the thumbs up, the like button. Well, the word like also has lie in it. So if you're liking something, you're making lies king. And royal, absolute. And what some people will tell you, there is no absolute, that everything is relative. Well, in a fractured reality, yes, there is only relativity. But a fractured reality has to have a source. And the source is always the absolute of something that has to be fractured or cut in half or divided, like two parts of the brain. When you bring the two parts of the brain together, you are experiencing your wholeness in the physical body. So when they're saying that love has an opposite of hate, love is an absolute and doesn't have hate, but it isn't alike. Loving isn't liking someone or something like, oh, I love that food. Well, you're eating that so you like the food. It's not that you love it and then you hate it over here. And people don't realize what they're doing with language. They are language themselves into a reality, because in this realm, words create the electricity that creates the electric universe. They're sound. All right, now, so you have to get back to knowing what you're actually bringing into manifestation. Love is about caring for. It doesn't have anything to do with sex, and it doesn't have anything to do with liking. I have a very dear friend. Her mother has, the Alzheimer's, obviously, in the brain, and a lot of that comes from, the food, and a lot of it comes from the mad cow disease that is out in everything else. So she really doesn't like her right now because she's mean and nasty and everything, but she loves her mother in the sense she's caring for her and taking care of her because she loves her mother. Her mother took care of her as a child, and now when her mother needs help, she is there. Even though she doesn't like it, she doesn't hate it or like it, and yet that's what you do when you love someone. You are there. And you help them and you take care of them in their times of need as well as in their so-called good times. What happens with the like and dislike is that people then believe that love is something like and dislike. And you could tell that in relationship, where I've done it. You get into relationship with someone and after a while you hate them, because they're not what you thought, you didn't get what you wanted, they've got their stuff that they brought, their baggage into it, and they're projecting and bouncing off of you, and you're projecting and bouncing off of them. All these people are doing this stuff. We're really simple. But we need to know how we function and how this reality functions. That's my work, okay? And I do that for myself and to share with you. So love doesn't have an opposite, and love is an absolute. And what happens when someone says, oh, there is no absolute, then they make that statement, there is no absolute, is absolute, meaning you can't question or look anywhere else because there is no absolute. Well, who are they? They're language people. And you've got two kinds of people. You've got thinking people and knowing people. Thinking people are never in the now. in the heart. They don't know what that's like. They're always in the mind and always thinking. So they're thinking they're having a good time, or they're thinking they're happy, or they're, it's like, oh, everything's set up now and I like it. Oh, now everything's gone amiss. Now I don't like it because I'm upset. Now I don't love it because it's all, not the way I thought. And the key is knowing that who you are is absolute love. And absolute love has no opposite of fear or of hate. Fear has no opposite itself because it's not natural to us, because we don't need to have any fear given who we are, and we are the absolute love. Absolute love is who we are. And what happens is people kill their love by words or concepts that they believe, because they believe the mind. Thinking people are always thinking, analyzing, figuring out, trying to solve their problems by thinking and analyzing and figuring out and making plans and such. But when you're dealing with the mind, it doesn't have solutions, because for the mind to operate, the person has to have faith in the mind and believe the mind is God and absolute and telling them what to do, because obviously it's their mind, but you're not your mind. You might call it a divine mind, but you're not you're not fractured. You don't have parts. All those, what we call parts, are all aspects, and what we just say, we're wholeness. We aren't missing anything. And when we think that, or believe that love means liking, and I was talking to this young woman who had fallen into really difficult, challenging times because she had been taken as a sex slave. And I said to the person, because it was a horrendous experience, even though it never harms or hurt you at the level of who you are, because we're there and we are feeling bodies, divine beings, we experience everything as if it is happening to us. The pain, the pleasure, the joy, the misery, all of that. And it's challenging for someone to, or do you say, detach from what the mind is telling them all the time. So when you know that you are an absolute and you are love itself, when people kill their love, they stop also the feelings. And those feelings that we have of love, and there's many levels of love. And one of the reasons, I like the Vedic knowledge and Vedic teaching is also Sanskrit is the language of the spiritual realm. And you have, like, English is designed as a spell casting language, taking bits and pieces of all different languages, like the word with. It can be calm, with. It can be con, which is a con artist, or against. And you have suffixes and prefixes, they're fixes that on the other ends of words that then make those words absolute, because people are living from these words. And you want to know, in the beginning, in John 1:1, it says, in the beginning was the Word. That means in creations, in this particular manifestation, it's built from words, sounds. And those sounds glow and generate glow, which is electricity, is light. So when that light is slowed down, and those words each have a whole lot written into the word that people then take into themselves, like the word loser or failure, or the word success, or you made it, or you didn't make it, or you're a winner, or you're a loser. And then people react to these things that has to do with them. No, you are absolute, whole, complete, and perfect in every moment, because it's who you are. And you want to, in your meditation, if you haven't yet, get to where, and breathing meditations are wonderful, to the place where you notice you've been the witness, you're the observer, and you're always intact, and you have no age. You've always just been there watching and looking, but yet we have all of these people and relationships and schooling and medicine and science and philosophy, and all of this are all language. And yet all of this language then we are using that describe people, lost my thing, I'll get it again, describe people, and people are reacting all in every moment to every word. And you want to notice the words that you're reacting to and what they do to you, and how we get involved in that, and then take those emotions on and stop the love. So if we get right to it right here, love has no opposite. You don't have an opposite. You're not a fractured being unless you are a thinking being, and then everything's fractured. When you are a knowing being, it's because you reconnected to yourself. And you reconnect to yourself in each moment, having to do with what you trust, either the thoughts that are flowing from the mind. You have to look where'd they come from, who gave them to you, what are those commands, what are those suggestions, what are those statements that you have been taught or told or subliminally been, receiving into what we would call the subconscious, and then it operates as a computer program underneath everything else. So if you have that command or that thought that says, someone said to you, well, you're unlovable, then you carry that on, nobody will ever love me because I'm unlovable. Well, you don't have to worry about that. You are loved, so you don't need to be lovable, if you know what I mean. It's always about how you're going to get something from the outside. How are they going to treat me? What are they thinking about me? Am I going to get this? Am I not going to get that? Do they like them better than me and they don't like them? And how many likes did I get today? Because that shows how everybody likes me or they didn't like me. And then you have people in a constant state of anxiety. It's fear, it's stress. It's complete. And that I remember that when I would do that thing in relationship, I felt like there's like an anvil on my chest all the time. Like I was just ready to cry, and nobody loves me, and I'm all by myself, and all of these, and all the stories then that we're making up in the mind. And then because we're wonderful actors, you might say, we take on the emotions that go with the stories, because after all, that's real. We're experiencing it. You're experiencing that, yes. Only you're the experiencer. You are eternity. You are the reality, the truth. And when you know the truth with a capital T, it's not everybody's opinion. It's that which is basic and fundamental to each and every one of us as to who we are. So, in conclusion, like and love are completely different. And in Sanskrit, the word like is called rag and then vesh. Rag and vesh, like and dislike. And that's how the mind works. When you bring up, oh, I hope they like me, the mind also brings up, they don't like you. When you bring up, I don't like that, the mind will also bring up the other, well, you like this. So the mind is always arguing about these conflicting words, that every word has an opposite. And yet you don't have an opposite. You are eternal, and you are eternity itself, and you have all the divine qualities of our beloved source, partner, God within. You might say, however, there aren't any words that can describe you, nor the supreme being that we are part of and our divine nature. So, take a nice deep breath, and remember, you are the absolute, and you are love. And love is beyond liking or disliking. And love never has an opposite. And if someone tells you it does, that's a clue that that's a lie. And the lying then persists when everybody says, like how many people say, the universe did this for me. Really? Do you know where the universe is? Do you know what it is? Or is that someone trying to take you away from the divine? Take you away from the precious soul that you are? Take you away from your divine powers? And you're just some nerd on the street? and that you're all this stuff is just happening to you, and you don't have anything that you can do about it, but just stay terrified and scared and hope you get more likes today than you got dislikes yesterday because, I just still can't be by myself. When you are really with yourself, that is supreme pleasure of the soul. The love that you truly desire is you. And the key is start noticing where you're stopping the loving feelings and giving then these emotions where your feeling body is now distorted to a particular emotional body where you're taking yourself down in depression or misery and suffering because of what he said, she said, they said, my mother, my father, the schools, there it goes. And there you go, masses of people who don't have a clue, and they get all their knowledge and information from social media, from somebody else. People I love it say, oh, I don't do any research on myself, or I just click on this, and that's all I know. Well, if you're going to be a real spiritual sleuth, detective, because if you don't care about you, who else will? And when you really know, and you invest yourself and your time and your money and your energy into knowing and being who you are, you liberate yourself from all the suffering of humanity. People say, yeah, but I'm a human. No, that's a definition in a dictionary that's going to tell you what you are. You're a corporation, my dear, because it's written. You're a corporation because it's written. And then a corporation is a human because it's written. Really? It's the emperor in their new clothes when they're actually really naked. Oh, you can't say they're naked because everybody says the king has a beautiful new outfit. You got to go along with it. Say, isn't it fabulous? Until the little kid says he's naked. Until Toto, the dog, in, oh my gosh, takes away the curtain that shows the person pulling all the levers and making all the sounds that are producing this virtual reality, and you pull away the curtain and you see what's going on. And when you perceive the reality, wherever you walk is holy ground because you're there. Lots of love. And my love for you never ends. It's not about whether you like me or you don't like me. I'm not here to get likes. Notice I never ask you, I don't need any likes. You could do dislikes all you want or likes all you want because that's where you are. That's where the person is. And they're the one who is torturing themselves, seeking they're torturing somebody else. It isn't. Give up self-torture. And you give up self-torture when you stop believing the words that are being spoken to you or spoken by others, and they're being spoken out in all the media. And notice everybody's reacting. And social media can move people this way and that way and this way and that way and this way and that way and up and down, just like a bunch of robots. You know what a thinking person is? They're a robot. Absolutely. They go what the mind says. Easy to program the mind. But a knowing being, they can walk on water. Hey, hey. The song is so great right there.